The government introduced three farm acts in the form of an ordinance in the parliament in September last year. After receiving the presidential approval on 27th of September, these became the farm laws. The farmers have been protesting ever since on the borders of Delhi. The government says that these laws are a watershed moment in our agriculture and will lead to the empowerment and liberation of farmers. The farmers maintain that these are black laws that have to be repealed. The truth, I assure you, is somewhere in between. The Supreme Court has stayed these laws for now and wants a consensus to appear between all parties involved. Today I will cover these laws in a simple manner. I will cover the essence of these laws and the reasons for which they were brought in. I will also cover the gaps in the structure of these laws that have been pointed out, and I will cover the reasons why the farmers are protesting. I will leave links in the description for you to peruse these laws in greater detail. I will also leave some links for you to go in depth into the state of Indian agriculture. So let's cover the laws. The first law is the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act 2020. To simplify this, let's call this the Contract Farming Act. A farmer can now get into a contract with any customer before any production. A farmer can collaborate with customers like Big Basket or Reliance or ITC and receive technological know-how, agricultural expertise, and assistance in growing the crop that they desire. The next act is the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act 2020. To simplify this, we can call this the APMC Bypass Act. APMCs, or Agricultural Produce Market Committees, or Mandis as they are called, are present all over India and they have been set up since the 60s and 70s. Traditionally, a farmer takes his produce to the APMC and sells his produce to licensed traders through licensed middlemen. The states levy a state tax, assess, and also the farmer has to pay the commission for the agents. This new act proposes to create a parallel network of markets where the farmers can sell without any taxes. The government also proposes to create an online trading platform for the farmer to sell his produce. To note here is 18 states in the country have already moved past the APMCs. 12 of them already operate other markets outside the APMCs. There are about 7,000 APMCs across the country, with each one serving a geographical area of about 496 square kilometers. Experts say that for a country the size of India, we need at least 30 to 40,000 such markets, with each market serving a geographical area of about 80 square kilometers. Essential Commodities Act. This is an old act. This covers the regulation of distribution and storage of commodities that the government deems essential. The new act frees food grains, pulses, edible oils and onion from such restrictions. So in effect, a farmer can grow anything, contract with anyone, sell his produce anywhere across the country, and the government is going to interfere in even lesser items. So did we need these laws? Did our agricultural sector require reforms? The answer to that is an absolute yes. India has the second largest arable land in the world. We have 46 out of the 60 soil types and we have all 15 major climates. Despite this, our productivity rates are some of the lowest in the world. Our farmers are some of the poorest. Only 46% of the arable land in India is irrigated, which means more than half our farmers are dependent on the monsoons. A look at this chart shows you India's productivity per hectare when compared to the world leader in those crops. 85% of our farmers have less than 4 acres of land. A look at the average household income of farmers in India gives you an idea of the perennial financial distress that they are in. Our farmers are besieged with problems of declining productivity, fragmented land holdings, lack of modernization, high levels of indebtedness. We need large-scale investment in agricultural production, storage infrastructure, marketing and sales networks, price support for farmers, and all this is only possible by private sector involvement. So yes, agriculturists, reformers, think tanks, economists, and successive governments have always batted for reform in the agricultural sector for decades now. So why the backlash? I'll take this in 2 parts. In the first part, I'll cover the gaps in these acts that have been pointed out. and the details that need to be fleshed out. For example, in the APMC Bypass Act, the farmers are apprehensive that this will lead to a steady decline of the APMCs when new markets come up where no taxes are charged. The farmers are afraid that MSP will also go away with the APMCs. MSP is minimum support price. The government decides MSP for about 23 crops but only buys rice and wheat at MSP from the farmers. Only 6% of the farmers in India sell their produce at MSP to the government. There are not many details about the timelines that are required to set up these alternative markets. The government also has not given many details about the online trading platform that they intend to set up. In the contract farming laws, the farmers are apprehensive that they can get exploited by large corporates because of the relative inexperience with contracts. The farmers are afraid that they might lose their lands or not get paid when the crops are cultivated. The government should come up with model contracts so that they can assure the farmers that they will not get shortchanged. Also, in the original text of the acts, dispute resolution was supposed to be done at the SDM level or the subdivisional magistrate level, and there was no recourse to courts. There have been 11 rounds of talks between the farmers and the government after the Supreme Court stayed the laws. To be fair to the government, they came back with reassurances on many of these points. They have reassured the farmers that the APMCs and the MSP will stay. They have promised to come up with model contracts that the farmers can use to ensure that they do not get cheated. The government has also agreed to add courts to the dispute resolution process. They will have to come up with more details regarding the locations and the frequency of the markets that they plan to come up with, more details on the online trading platform, and also, all in all, a lot more details so that the farmers can be taken into confidence. Most of these concerns can be addressed by some consultation between the parties involved. Agriculturists, agricultural institutes, the government, the farmers can actually sit together and thrash out these details to bring out a comprehensive structure of these reforms. But the bigger factor that has brought us to this Mexican standoff is what I'll cover now. There is a severe trust deficit between the farmers and the government. There was a seeming unwillingness to engage from the government side. In my opinion, they were taken by surprise by the backlash they received from the farmers. The government had the right strategic goals, but they have committed tactical blunders in the implementation of these laws. The government did not take other parties into confidence. They did not consult with the states. Agriculture is primarily a state subject. Many states across the country have already brought out a lot of these reforms. Many states have reformed the APMCs Act. Many states have already brought out contract farming laws for their farmers. Any implementation of these laws cannot be done without the cooperation of states. The government should have taken the states into confidence. Worst of all, the government did not take the farmers into confidence. They did not consult farm collectives or farmer organizations or unions, and this did not go down well with the farmers. They felt betrayed and they felt that these laws were being thrust upon them. Then came a series of bad moves. They put barricades around Delhi, cut off the electricity, water and internet connections of the farmers, and this led to a hardening of the stance on both sides. Farmers braving the cold on the borders of Delhi caused a huge upswell of support for the farmers in the citizenry across the country, because at the end of the day, none of us want to see a fellow citizen being treated unfairly. The government did offer to put the laws on hold for 18 months, but instead of that, if they had taken 6 to 8 months before to consult with all the parties involved, they could have brought these laws out in a much simpler fashion. The Supreme Court has stayed these laws till a consensus is reached between all parties. I hope the Supreme Court instructs all parties involved to the discussion table so that they can come up with consensus on a comprehensive structure to bring these reforms out. Farming is the largest sector in our country by manpower, and more than half our country is linked to agriculture. It's not always that you have a golden opportunity to do something which would uplift half your country's life over the next few years. I hope all parties involved realize that this is that golden opportunity. If you have made it this far, I request you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I also request you to spread the word among your friends about this channel. I intend to continue making such videos to increase our collective awareness. I loved the feedback that I have received and the positive comments from my first two videos, and as you can see, I have made some few changes. I've changed the light, I'm wearing a shirt, I'm trying to move my hands less. I am very, very grateful that you decided to spend a few minutes of your day here with me today. I'll see you next time.